We're live, and
I
we have
can't.
no one.
Hold on.
Two.
Phones are plugged in.
What?
Say something again?
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Barely.
Barely. It might be me.
Interesting.
Say hello again. Oh. Oh, you know why? Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. Hey, She-Wolf.
I don't know. It's just not that loud, sweetheart.
It's just the three of us, She-Wolf. It's not that loud. Let me see if I can turn my up.
Hey, She-Wolf. Hey, OG Nanny.
OG Nanny, hey.
Good to see you. Or still, or.
Oh, I got the wrong.
Hi, Helena. I'm still trying to get Map. I just can't hear you very well. I'm going to turn the
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. It's just, you sound really far away.
Now because I switched mics.
Yeah, it's just not that loud. So, hold on.
Can you guys hear me in the chat? Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Audio. Hello. Hello. Yeah. All right. Should be better. Oh, I've been watching some awesome Bigfoot videos too, She-Wolf. Can you hear me now? I can't hear you now. Oh. What the hell is going on? Now can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
My iPad says I lost connection with the mic. People were saying they can hear you.
Okay. Your mic's muted. You muted yourself.
Okay. Now I'm unmuted. But now you guys have a beautiful view of our messy office. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
you hear both of us now.
Hey, I can hear you.
What's happening?
Oh. Hey, Half Pint.
We're
first live. Oh, I'm sorry.
We totally suck at this.
Oh, God. We just get a wild hair, like, hey, let's go live, and then something always happens.
And then it sucks.
Something always happens, but whatever. Here we are. I'm all messy, and I was out in the garden because it's beautiful today.
Yeah, we just got back from vacation from Florida, so I'm a little bit sunburnt. Mrs. Mab's all dark and tan, and I got burnt. Good evening.
I got burnt too.
Elena M. Hello, darling.
Oh.
Glad to see you guys here. No, we're not monetized yet. We make no money. We get no cash apps. We don't do this for money. We just do it for fun. So we wanted to go over a video about Jack and Lilly, a little ditty about Lilly. Two Canadian kids doing the best that they can. Jack wanted to be a football star. Lilly just wanted her life to go very, very far. So where in the hell are Jack and Lilly? We want to find that out as fast as we can. But damn, this case, yeah, that's the best way these days. Drama seems to come with the money. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not drama, so we don't make money. We're just us.
We're just playing around. Money would be nice, but it's
Yeah,
not.
would be.
That would be just too much. You
So
got to have like 2,000 hours or something crazy.
Hey, Angel, good to see you. So we're going to try to share this video and figure out if this is a missing 411 case, because as far as I can see, I don't see where these kids could have gone.
So wait, back up. I don't know if everybody knows what missing 411 is.
David Paulides is a guy who used to be a sheriff or used to be a police officer in San Jose, California, which is where I grew up, right next to Cupertino. So he was a policeman when I was younger, right near me, and he retired and started investigating missing people in national parks. Very, very strange disappearances in national parks. So he has books that he's written, Missing 411, Missing 411 The Hunted for missing hunters, Missing 411 The UFO Connection, where he covers some very strange cases involving UFOs. So he's been around the block and he knows a lot about missing children searches and so on. So without further ado, let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Share screen. Share screen. Bam. So that's the screen. And you can see him. All right, well, we can do that. I can do this.
Yeah, Kathy, his shows are quite good. He's
They
done a lot of research.
A little place called Pictou County, right here in Nova Scotia. Now, to give you some perception, here's Oak Island. If you watch that show, Oak Island Treasure, the Laginas.
It's not too far.
And then it's a 2-hour and 17-minute drive to the location in Pictou County. They lived on Gairloch Road. I'll show you a picture of that a little bit later, but Lilly and Jack Sullivan, 6 and 4 years old, went missing May 2nd, 2025. Yes, this year, not too long ago. They were reported to the RCMP at 10 a.m. They lived with their mom and their stepdad. The mom's name was Malaya, and the dad's name was Daniel Mortel.
So they're reported missing at 10 a.m., but I think they really went missing around 8 a.m. And they didn't call the RCMP until 10 a.m. It's still unclear to me, but I'm going to keep going.
This is mom and dad. Or step-mom and dad. Stepdad, real mom.
Young.
Yeah.
So the two kids, Lilly and Jack, had a different father. Now, these two had...
Now, the father of the two kids, I guess, was in jail or is in jail, got out of jail. He's on ankle monitor, but he hasn't been in the kids' lives at all. The real biological father of Jack and Lilly.
Had a 1-year-old child that also lived in the house.
Meadow.
To me, that is a big part of this case that you will hear nothing about. I'll get to that later. So they lived on a place called Gairloch Road, Pictou County, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, I'll put a link.
Very rural residence off a 2-lane highway that backs up into the woods, about 25 kilometers south of Glasgow. Now from the air, this is what the residence looks like. 2-lane highway right here. Dirt road up to their residence, surrounded by woods behind the home.
And the Winnebago back there, Daniel's mother lives in that. And I don't know where the hell his brother lives or lived, or she lives in that thing with his mother or not. I'm not clear on that.
Now, I read a lot of search and rescue reports about this, and there's a lot of deadfall in that area back in there. Now, the children went to a place called Salt Springs Elementary School in Salt Springs, Nova Scotia. Here's where the story is a little bit strange. They were reported missing May 2nd. April 30th, which is a Wednesday, the kids didn't attend school because the teachers had a professional development day. Okay. Thursday, they didn't attend school because they said that Lilly had a cough and they held both kids back. Okay. Friday, May 2nd, kids didn't go to school again. Supposedly sick. So let's start off this.
Okay, so update. We've since found out that they were seen with family members the day before they went missing. You guys in the chat, can you let me know? I think it was the day before they went missing. They were seen with family members out shopping or doing something. Is that true? I think that's true. I've been following the case on Dolly's channel a little bit. So, yes, shopping. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you, sweetie. Yeah, so they were seen the day before they went missing, I believe, shopping.
Friday, May 2nd, 9 o'clock. Malaya and Daniel are in their bedroom with their 1-year-old baby.
Meadow.
The couple have been together for 3 years. Lilly supposedly came in and out of that room several times in the morning. Jack was heard by both of them in the kitchen. They state that there's a back sliding door that is really quiet.
It's the invisible sliding door that makes no noise.
Come on now.
That they believe the kids exited the house from.
I don't buy it.
Lilly,
Oh,
Aw.
oh my God, look at how cute they are.
She's graduating probably kindergarten or first. She's 7.
I'm sorry. 2 little kids did not just decide to walk out the back door together and vanish.
Take off with no food, no water, no toys, no nothing except for
And it's cold. I mean, even though it's May, Nova Scotia is very far north.
yes.
It's way up there. It's probably still snow on the ground.
I'm not sure in that area, but
Maybe not, but it's cold.
yeah.
and Daniel, 6 and 4 years old. Lilly was 6, Jack was 4. Both went to the same school. 9:15 a.m., Daniel, the stepfather, starts looking for the kids, couldn't find them. Got into his vehicle, and he says he drove all the dirt roads in the area looking for the kids. That was his quote. He didn't say he drove the asphalt road, the 2-lane road, just the dirt roads.
And he also said he was in water up to his neck searching for these kids. And at no time do we see him wet.
And so Michelle just commented that sliding glass doors are not quiet and they're very heavy. Like,
Yes.
I've never heard a silent sliding glass door.
No, they're rollers. The door has rollers on it, and there's a protrusion of metal on the bottom of the slider, and it rides on those rollers. And those rollers make noise because most of the time people don't keep them clean and keep them oiled and keep WD-40 on them, so they make noise, especially in a mobile or a manufactured home or a trailer, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's gonna make noise.
But I believe the kids could have opened it because growing up we had
Yeah.
a cat that could open up our sliding glass door. So if a cat can do it, a 4-year-old could do it.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. They could open it. They probably opened it and
Yeah.
went outside and played all the time. I mean, you got nobody living around them. Why would you not let your kids play
Right.
by 3 hours away, New Brunswick here, 3 hours away? Andrea Presley, thank you for being here, sweetie. I really appreciate it. And yes, this is the first case I've really covered because I am beginning to be pissed off about how many kids are going missing and how life, the human life, is becoming less and less valuable than it was when I was young. I mean, it just seems to be less and less valuable. The human life seems to become less and less valuable,
Mm.
and they seem to be disposed of for very little reason. And it's just horrible. Yeah, your 3-year-old daughter can open a sliding door. Yeah, it is so sad, She-Wolf. So let's continue. They opened the quiet slider and slipped into oblivion.
Looked around for 45 minutes, came home, and they called the RCMP. It wasn't long before the RCMP arrived. They quickly called for more assistance. More units started arriving. At 12:25, RCMP had been there less than 2.5 hours. They make a news release stating that 2 children were missing from Lansdowne Station. That's a small area that they're in. And they request if the public has seen any kids or has any knowledge of the disappearances to contact the RCMP. And then they immediately say there's no evidence of abduction.
Okay, this is where I'm beginning to be pissed off. How in the hell can you say there is no evidence of abduction? Why would there be evidence of abduction? There's no cameras. It's 2-lane highway right out in front of their driveway. They have no cameras on it. They have no reason to assume they have not been abducted. They have no evidence of abduction. They have no evidence of them not being abducted. So why did they so quickly and still to this day insist that these kids have not been abducted?
Yeah.
It's totally bizarre. Totally bizarre.
They've been out on scene less than 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and they say there's no evidence of abduction. I don't quite know how they could say that. That seems awfully quick to pull that out.
Yeah.
4:55 p.m. same day, RCMP tell the public to stay out of the area of the search, which is ongoing. And they issue a vulnerable missing person alert for Picton County, Nova Scotia.
Do they not have Amber Alerts in Canada?
Yes,
They call it
but
something else?
Amber Alerts are for abducted kids,
Mm.
custody disputes in vehicles where there's an evidence
Oh,
of
right.
getting in a
Right.
car and taking off.
Sorry.
They should have done an Amber Alert, in my opinion,
Mhm.
because there's no reason for them to think they have not been abducted. You know, I don't get it. The RCMP, this is a small town. Maybe they just don't know what the hell they're doing.
RCMP decided to keep searchers in the woods through the night.
That's stupid.
Okay. Now, I've told you before, kids don't move at night. They sleep. I understand the need to keep somebody out there. Realistically, it's not going to do any good. Kids are going to bundle up, find a little cubby somewhere, buy some boulders. Sometimes they just lay on the ground and they sleep. Well, the very next day, May 3rd, the RCMP had already made a contact on the 2nd with other search and rescue organizations saying, hey, we're going to need you. Well, they called for a major search and rescue. And they got 100 searchers, multiple canine teams, drones, and helicopters with FLIR. And that search went on all day. They relieved the guys and ladies that were in the woods all night. And now the RCMP did something that I completely have no idea why they did it, unless they're not telling us everything. 5:26 p.m. They issue a wider alert for Pictou, Colchester, and Antigonish counties.
Okay, so additional 2 counties. I'm assuming that's miles away from the house. I mean, counties are pretty big in my opinion. I don't know how far these counties are apart, but
right, so they're
you are awesome.
are they assuming
Link in there, honey.
what?
Jennifer B, the awesome mod we have, put the link for the video we're watching.
Oh, sweet. Thanks, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Right. Where does he think that these kids walked to another county? I mean, I get that expanding the search is a good idea. I mean,
this guy's awesome, OG Nanny. I've been watching him for years. He is awesome. He follows missing cases. We're going to go over Riley Strain again, and I'm going to go over his video he did on Riley, and there's some very interesting information in there that nobody's heard. Okay, let's continue. While Mrs. Mab's eating all my ice cream.
Why issue a 3-county alert if there's no abductions? Friends.
Wait, they might have done that because they got the info from Daniel's phone, and he may have been shown in those 2 counties. That could be why they extended that alert, but I'm not sure. Doesn't make any sense.
These are 4 and 6-year-old kids. They're not going to walk across multiple counties. So why did the RCMP do that if their public statement is that the kids have not been abducted, and they're still claiming that? I don't get it. Now, on that May 3rd, Malaya, the mom, made a statement to the press and Canadian TV news. She says, I want you to listen to this statement closely. I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them, and I want them home. Then the article said, well, the mother had been pushing for the RCMP to issue an Amber Alert. And she states, not just that, but they could possibly be abducted, which is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know they are missing.
Yeah.
But what didn't we hear her say? We didn't hear her say either one of them's names. That's, I think, the point.
Multiple sentences there. There's experts out there that decipher the way somebody talks, language.
Yes.
One thing I found a little odd is that the mom never mentioned their name in any of those statements. You know, Lilly and Jack, we miss them a ton. I want to know where my kids are. I want them back. Never their name. And then after they interview Malaya, the RCMP says it again, that there's no evidence the kids were abducted.
Are.
Okay. They're pushing that avenue real hard. I get it.
Why are they pushing the non-abduction so hard? It's bizarre. Unless they know for a fact they haven't been abducted. And if they know that, then they know what happened.
Then they know more.
Unless they're just total effing idiots. I don't get it. In my opinion, somebody needs to pass a law that when a child or children go missing from their parents, you know, maybe not up to a certain age, maybe up to 10 years old, that they immediately take electronics, they immediately lock down the scene, they immediately absorb all the electronics, computers, phones, just as a precaution. They're not blaming anybody. They lock down the house where the kids live. They go through the scene forensically before, and at the same time, they can be searching and doing Amber Alerts and all that. but I think they lose so much information screwing around that by the time they actually start doing a criminal investigation, most of the evidence is gone.
Yep.
6 p.m. that night, the Salvation Army shows up. They arrive on scene, and they start feeding all the searchers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they make a statement, and they say, we need well-fed searchers with energy. If you're a longtime follower of me, you know I'm a huge advocate of the Salvation Army. I know everyone has their stories about these groups, but I can only give you mine. When I was a policeman, we had a disaster in a certain part of town. And I was working in street crimes then, and they pulled us off to do like patrols this certain area from 7 at night to 7 in the morning because of looting. And the Salvation Army came in and established their trailers, cooks. They were the nicest people, never asked for anything. No, you guys can't pay me, this is free. We're doing this as a service to everybody who's working out here.
Yeah, half pint. I totally agree with you too. There needs to be a more standard protocol when it comes to missing kids 10 or under. Now, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, there are a lot of runaways where they're just running away, to a friend's house or whatever. But 10 and under, I think there should be a totally separate protocol for those, or autistic kids, like in Sebastian Rogers' case. They screwed around way too long on that, thinking it was a runaway. And I don't think it was a runaway.
Nope.
We were all blown away. So I truly support them. And I know other people are going to say, oh, they're horrible, they're this, they're that. Like I've told you before, the test of someone and the test of an organization is at a time of high need, how do they react? Do they try to benefit from your loss and your need? No, they did not. They came to help, to aid, to serve. That's all I could ask. On a side note, while I'm reading everything I could about this story, there's a weird note in the Canadian TV log that Nova Scotians should start to feel relieved to know that in 2026, Nova Scotia is going to have the ability to use text on their phone.
What?
In 2026, Nova Scotia is going to learn how to use text messaging. They should feel very relieved about that, because up to now, they've been using smoke signals.
What?
Yeah.
What? Nova Scotians can't text on their phone?
They don't get automatic text on their phone because they're freaking building fires and sending smoke signals from the reservations up there.
I read it 3 times. I couldn't believe it. You kind of think that Nova Scotia is hip with the 21st century, but I guess not. May 4th, 160 searchers were hindered in their search efforts to find Lilly and Jack because heavy rain covered the entire region.
Okay, now in a lot of Dave's previous cases where a person goes missing, national park, inclement weather happens, whether it's a snowstorm, a rainstorm, high winds, fire, whatever. And weather is a factor in these missing 411 cases that he covers that are just bizarre, where it doesn't have any rhyme or reason why these people disappeared. Hey, Deb. Good to see you.
Hey, Team Rose.
Hey, Rose.
Nice to see you. Yeah, if you're ever out in California again,
yeah,
let us know, because that would be cool if you were close to us. I mean, California is a big state, but we're in the Monterey Bay area, so.
Your relative near Santa Rosa or something, Team Rose? I thought I remembered something like that. Yeah.
Santa Rosa is like 2 hours from us.
Yeah, Bay Area, where this guy used to be a cop, is about an hour away from us. Or where I used to live, where my daughter lives right now. Okay, here we go.
And they had a difficult time staying in the primary search zone 24/7 because it was so cold and so wet. We talk about weather being a factor on these searches under missing 411. Well, obviously the kids weren't dressed for rain. May 5th, a footprint is found by searchers, but they refuse to say where they found the print.
And now these footprints, I believe, were in the driveway at the end of the driveway, like 2 footprints. They don't say whether they were boot prints or actual feet prints, but that's what I heard.
How big it was it a footprint or a track? Track from a shoe or a footprint? No clarity. And they said that they expanded the search and focused into that area with drones and FLIR and ground pounders.
And I never heard they found a footprint out in the woods or anything. I haven't heard that.
They never stated where it was or if they found multiple tracks. May 6th, kids missing now 5 days. Daniel, the stepfather, tells CBC, Canadian Broadcasting News, that Malaya has left her home for another area of the province and then blocked him on social media.
Okay, so we know there was an argument that happened at the property.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. Well, there was an altercation at the property where Malaya's side of the family were throwing accusations at Daniel, accusing him of having something to do with it. Daniel's mother owns the property, but lives in Winnebago back there.
Her mother or his mother?
His mother.
His mother. Oh,
His mother
interesting.
owns that property where they live. I'm sure they probably don't even pay any rent because he only works 1 day a week. They're probably on some assistance, and they get the 1 day a week money and then no rent, so they can at least feed themselves. But there was some altercation, and Malaya took off and blocked Daniel on social media. However, when I was watching Dolly's, she is still liking his photographs and posts on Facebook. But that doesn't make sense. Another bizarre little twist.
What? So, I've been on several searches for kids. I have never heard, nor have I ever read, of a mother leaving the search headquarters, which in this instance is essentially their home, to go to another part of the city to get away from what's happening there. I have never heard that. I've never heard of a father doing that.
Except for Sebastian.
Yeah, I thought that too. Joe dirted Sebastian pretty quick. How long was it after that they took off to Yogi Bear campground, wherever the hell it was?
It seems like pretty soon.
Yeah,
It was like a week or something crazy. Like almost right away they left.
yeah. Now we've got a lot of stuff in common here with Sebastian Rogers' case. Oh yeah, and they're claiming that Lilly and Jack are undiagnosed autistic, which I believe is a crock of shit.
That's right.
Oh,
There was nothing that corroborates that.
yeah, and they also say, oh, they're so chatty. They're so chatty. They love everyone. They'll get in anyone's car. You know what? That is an alibi prep statement right there. And they're both
Right.
saying the same thing, that they're both undiagnosed autistic and that they'll just get in anybody's car and talk to anybody. Is that freaking nuts or what?
Well, and that's contradictory because if you're autistic, you're probably a little bit socially awkward
Right.
and prefer to not be around other people.
Exactly.
So that doesn't make any sense.
None at all.
Yeah.
It was never explained why she left, nor did Daniel explain. At that same time, the maternal grandmother for the kids, Lilly and Jack, stated to the press that she was told by the RCMP to not talk to the press. What?
All right.
What?
No law enforcement authority has any power, right, or anything else to tell someone not to speak to the press about anything unless it's a gag order by a judge. I mean, they can ask him not to speak to the media, but why? You want the story to be out. You want the kids' faces to be out there. You want the case to be out there. You want as much coverage as you can get so you can find these kids. Why would you say that? That doesn't make any sense either. It's all BS. You can't just diagnose your own kids with autism. I agree, Donna. My kid has autism. Everybody thinks their kids have autism these days. What is it? 99% of the kids have autism these days. Anyway.
Why would the RCMP tell any family member to not talk to the press? That's another one I've never heard of. To me, I think it's bizarre. Here's why. On search and rescue of missing people, you want everybody in that community talking about the case. You want their photo in everyone's mind, front and center. So if they see somebody, they're thinking of those kids. You want Nova Scotia, you want every place talking about these kids. Why would the RCMP tell relatives to not talk to the press? But I have even a better question. The press wrote that down. Where's the logical next question? At the next press conference, why not ask the RCMP, hey, did you tell the parents that they can't talk to us? Well, yeah, we did. Why? A logical question. We're the press. Why can't they talk to us? What are you hiding?
Okay, now I remember in the Sebastian Rogers investigation, Chris Proudfoot stated several times that he was told by law enforcement not to say certain things and blah, 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 blah. So that's another thing that we're finding in common with these two cases.
I just want to say hi to Mia. It's nice to meet you too, sweetheart.
Yeah, sweet. My son was diagnosed with Stanford Behavioral Pediatrics at 2 years old. Are you near Stanford? You're in California? Stanford.
It is about
One of
2
my
and a
old
half hours north of us.
My old boss, when I was probably 18, I worked with, his mother was Stanford. His name was, oh yeah, you're in San Jose. Okay.
Sorry.
I can't remember all of them, but Mia, I will remember you're in San Jose now. You're pretty close to us. Yeah, so Stanford's close. And my boss was a son of Leland Stanford's daughter. And they have a huge mansion up in Los Gatos. And I used to go up there all the time to work. And it was a pretty killer mansion right up above Los Gatos. It's pretty awesome.
Team Rose is asking where these kids went missing. Nova Scotia, Canada.
Yeah.
Team Rose. So not here.
Okay.
What does the public need to know? I'm telling you, journalism does not exist today. Nobody asks the right questions. Nobody cares. It's an embarrassment.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Journalism these days is dead. Mainstream media sucks. All they do is read what they're given to read. They don't investigate anymore. They don't research anymore. They don't. They're not journalists anymore. They're propagandists, in my opinion. And that's really sad because back in the day, there used to be real journalists like James O'Keefe.
Walter Cronkite.
James O'Keefe, he's a real journalist. And did you know that JLR's Magnolia used to work for James O'Keefe? You didn't know that.
May 7th, 2 p.m. The RCMP says that they're scaling back the search and rescue for the kids. They stated that the searchers are literally exhausted, and the RCMP doubts that the kids could still be alive. They said that they searched 4 square kilometers. That's just about 1.54 square miles. Not enough. No, not enough. Here's why. Search and rescue parameters on a 4 to 6 year old child in a mountain surrounding, 95% are found in 2.3 miles or less from the point last seen, meaning the house. 25% are found just 1/10 of a mile away. 50% are found 1/2 a mile away. 75% are found 9/10 of a mile away or less. In 2% of the cases, kids are never found. Now, we're not talking about 411 cases. We're just talking about missing cases in general. Survivability, less than 24 hours if the kids are found, it's 98%. More than 24 hours, it drops to 38%. That's a huge drop, more than 50%. 48 hours, it's 33%. 72 hours,
So
0%.
0.
So they're past that now. I mean, obviously, if they were out in the woods, they're no longer with us, unless they're being fed by a Yogi Bear or a Sasquatch.
I found that astounding. And I actually do not believe that is true, because I know I've had cases of kids 4 to 6 years old that have been gone many, many days that were found alive. So I'm not sure why they use that stat.
This guy has some of the most wild cases. You should watch some of his movies or read some of his books, because some of the cases this guy covers are freaking so bizarre. It's just out of this world. I've followed his stuff for years now.
Now, if they went missing on flat ground rather than a mountainous area, 95% are found in 4.1 miles or less. Mountain setting, 95% are found in 2.3 miles or less. 95%, not 100. Remember, I've given you cases before where kids are found miles and miles and miles away that they can't answer for. So if the RCMP covered just 1.54 square miles, that's not nearly enough. I don't care what they say.
They're saying
They need to go out at least 3 miles from the point last seen in a 3-mile radius from that house, and they didn't do it.
last I heard it was 5 kilometers, which is about 3 miles.
So as I stated, the area has a lot of deadfall, what makes it difficult for searchers to get through, and it makes it equally difficult for kids to get through. May 8th, the RCMP closes the command center and drives it away. Daniel, the stepfather, says the RCMP Major Crimes Unit interviewed him at the Stellarton RCMP detachment. Interesting.
Just now, 6 days later, I think that interview should have taken place a little sooner than that.
Search is over. Child's been missing. Kid's been missing 8 days. Far too long to wait to interview him. I'm sorry. At the end of day 3 of searching and they hadn't found those kids, parents are coming in.
That's what I'm talking about with some new protocols. Let's have some new protocols where by day 3 you have all the electronics, interviews, you got interviews of family, neighbors, you name it. I'm gonna find these kids alive.
I don't care if I bruise their feelings. I'm not here to make them happy. I'm not here to make sure I don't bruise their feelings. I'm here because I'm talking about law enforcement, because I'm an advocate for the child. Nobody else is speaking up for those kids. And the number one job is to find those kids alive.
Amen.
When you wait to day 8, chances of them being alive, almost nil. You can't wait that long. Now, they brought him into the station. Okay, that's good. That's good. Don't interview him at his house. Interview him at the station. Sterile environment where you control the surroundings. I get it. Daniel says he had asked them to take a polygraph test. And he told that to the press. The press asked the RCMP if that was true. They wouldn't even acknowledge it. Major mistake.
Well, the RCMP said they didn't have a polygrapher handy, and had to fly one in. So he's talking about using the FBI, and they could have done that.
By the RCMP not giving that guy a polygraph when he walked in that door. Huge mistake. I stated before that the Child Abduction Task Force of the FBI has the best law enforcement officers anywhere on that team. I've met them. They're unbelievable. They're exactly who I'd want finding my child. And I guarantee on day 3, they would have been pulling those parents in to do a polygraph. Now, when I talk about polygraphs, all of you start, well, not all of you, many of you start complaining, oh, they're worthless, they're not admitted into court. I don't care.
It's a tool that is to be used in an investigation. We don't give a shit about court. We want body language. We want eye ticks. How does the person respond? What is their facial mannerisms? What are their body linguistics? You know, there's a lot you can tell from that. That is a tool in investigation.
I don't care. You don't understand the tool. A polygraph isn't just sitting down on the machine and getting wired up. Your polygraph exam starts when you walk in that door. And you look at the examiner, and you look at the investigator, and you start answering questions. And they're watching your mannerisms. They're watching your eyes. They're watching how you react. Because all of those men and women have been to behavioral courses, and all of this tells them something about you. If you're hiding something, if you're being open and honest, then they give you a sheet to fill out. And they work off that sheet on the polygraph. And while you're filling out that sheet, they're also watching you. And really, I would probably say that 70% of the cases are solved before the polygraph ever gets going. I can't tell you any more than that, but that's just the truth.
So
That's interesting.
70% of the cases are solved before the polygraph ever gets started. Supposedly, we still don't know if Proudfoot took a polygraph or if it was passed or not. I sure didn't take Nancy Grace's polygraph.
I thought he did and passed it.
No.
Oh no, didn't they say he didn't have to because it was proven that he wasn't there when
No,
Sebastian...
Seth Rogers took the polygraph, and it was inconclusive on the first time because he fell asleep because he was so drugged out from his shoulder medication.
Oh, Seth?
Seth, yeah.
Seth took it, but I thought Chris didn't have to take it because he wasn't at home when Sebastian disappeared. I thought that was part of it, but I could be wrong. I
Said
don't know.
he was going to take one for Nancy Grace, and he never did.
Right.
He pussed out, in my opinion, on that one.
Major mistake. I would say that the FBI task force would have had this case solved at day 3 or 4. I'm just saying. May 9th through the 12th, well, first of all, May 8th through the 9th, the RCMP stated that they had a dive team search the ponds and the swamps in the area thoroughly. They found nothing. On May 9th, they acknowledged, I can't believe they did this. They acknowledged, RCMP stated that they had been spelling Lilly's name wrong. It should be with 2 L's.
Oh my God, did I spell it with 2 L's?
For
Thank you.
2 weeks.
May 13th, Lilly and Jack had been missing for 12 days.
Yeah, for 2 weeks they haven't even spelled their name right.
And nobody said anything?
I'm sure somebody said something. Should have.
At 12:54, the RCMP says that they're still investigating the case. They followed up on 180 tips, 35
Now it's over 300, last I heard.
formal interviews, which I don't think is that much. They never said, but they should have been using a behavioral analyst.
I agree.
Talk about mannerisms and things. May 15th, the RCMP makes another public statement that there's no evidence of abduction.
What?
No evidence of what?
Abduction.
Abduction?
When the
Oh,
hell did
again?
they keep saying that?
Excuse me.
Drives me freaking batshit crazy. There's no evidence of abduction. Is there any evidence they haven't been abducted? Show me that.
There's no evidence of anything.
It's possible that they've been abducted, and I'll believe you that they haven't been abducted. Don't give me any of this shit that there's no evidence of abduction if you don't have evidence that they haven't been abducted? Does that make any freaking sense to anybody? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay. Again, the press should have asked this. If there's no evidence of abduction, and you searched and the kids aren't out there, where are they? Logical question, right?
Yeah.
I want to see them answer. What are they going to say? Where are they? Friday, May 16th. Again, the kids were missing May 2nd. Kevin McLean, Colchester Search and Rescue, stated searchers would go into the area again on Saturday and Sunday, the 17th and the 18th. Same day,
Looking for bodies at this point, right?
Probably,
experts on search.
Huh?
probably it's been 2 weeks
Yeah.
and they're
there's-
little kids.
Yeah.
Little kids go down fast.
Yep. 72 hours.
Yeah.
and Rescue and on criminal behavior said that this case is an anomaly. It's an anomaly because there's no evidence where the kids are.
There aren't.
And many experts were very befuddled because of that. May 17th, 100 searchers covered new areas and went over old areas previously searched. May 18th, 115 searchers worked all day, more than 12 hours. They stopped at 8 p.m. and the RCMP said that them and the searchers were evaluating results.
Evaluating
What?
results. Either you found them or you didn't find them, right? Let's have a meeting to discuss the freaking results of the search and compare notes.
I'm not sure what that means. If you go out there and 100 searchers find nothing, what are you evaluating? Just a logical question. Also, there's a man named Glenn Brown, 26 years RCMP dog handler, spoke to the press. He said, the fact that the kids haven't been found is just really strange. That's what he said. He said, quote, I find it hard to believe that a 6 and 4-year-old would just disappear like that.
Right.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
they've been abducted.
No. There is no evidence of abduction in this case. They've said it over and over again. There's no evidence of abduction. So that means either aliens got them, Sasquatch got them, Dogman got them, or they went through a portal. And now they're in Never Never Land with Michael Jackson.
And then the news article stated that Glenn had worked hundreds of these search cases. May 23rd. The Halifax community has been devastated. An article from Halifax, written in Halifax, said that they've been devastated. School counselors have been showing up for parents and kids. The entire community was shaken. Daniel Martel, the stepfather, made a statement that the RCMP told him by email that he was not to give updates to anyone. So now we have the maternal grandmother and you have Daniel Martel both saying they can't talk to the press.
That's bizarre.
That is bizarre.
I've never heard any shit like that. Yeah, they haven't found anything, which is evidence for abduction in my book. There's no
Right.
bones, there's no remains, there's no torn up clothes, there's no shoes, there's no.
There's no footprints.
Okay, so if you get lions, tigers, and bears, oh no, if that
There would be evidence of
be
a
shredded clothing,
something.
bones, there would be drag marks, there would be something. There would be something, and it would have to happen to both of the kids. I'm looking at aliens at this point. I don't know what to say.
Poor babies.
So Lilly and Jack's maternal grandmother made that statement earlier. I have never heard of this, ever. And I want to know, why isn't the press asking the RCMP why these people can't talk to us? Explain. You want the press and the public thinking about these kids. So kids have not been found. RCMP has not stated it's a criminal investigation. They've not stated that they're done searching. But I'm going to go over some things with you that I think are major mistakes. First of all, this happened in a very small community in Nova Scotia. Don't have a lot of crime, don't have a lot of disappearances. So you're dealing with people that don't have a lot of experience in dealing with major incidents like this. If I was a family member, yeah, I'd be concerned. Number one, RCMP should have polygraphed the mom and the dad on day 3. Standard FBI abduction protocol. And this allows the investigators to focus where they should be focused. Not scattered like a shotgun, looking at everything, wondering what's going on with the parents, what's going on with the landscaper, there's no landscaper, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you got people searching lakes, you got people searching, places they've already searched. You finally got them interviewing Danny Martel and doing other interviews, but this is way late. This is weeks after.
Focus like a rifle shot on where it should be, not everywhere. You're scattering your resources. You're diluting your effort.
Yep.
Number 2, why in the heck did the mother, Malaya, leave the area of the province and then cut off Daniel from her social media?
Okay, now let's talk about that. Why did that happen? Sure, there could have been an argument out there, blah, 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 but spontaneous combustion. But that you would have had found ashes, and that would have been a smoke signal, Jennifer. It happened. Spontaneous human combustion. That is a thing.
It is a thing.
It is a thing.
Us Gen Xers were always afraid that was going to happen to us.
I thought I was going to spontaneously human combust earlier today.
And we were all afraid of quicksand. I don't know.
Quicksand.
It was just one of those things, like we were taught how to survive quicksand, stop, drop, and roll, like all these things. We were afraid of catching fire, quicksand, spontaneously combusting.
Just how to survive a nuclear blast. Get under your desk. You get ready to be incinerated.
That's gonna save you.
Because the USSR is just gonna nuke your ass. That is so freaking crazy. What was I gonna say? Yeah, why did Malaya cut off all communication? And I also heard CPS insisted that Daniel cannot see Meadow, not even supervise his own daughter. Why would they do that?
That's weird.
I mean, if there was some drugs, hardcore drugs there, maybe. But if it was weed or something like that, they don't usually care about shit like that. They want to find the kid. So why the split like that? They've been together 3 years and all of a sudden, bam.
And plus, did she leave the baby behind?
No.
She took the baby.
I guess CPS, the rumor that I heard was CPS told her to split with the baby and they wouldn't let the father see the baby. I don't even know if he has ever seen the baby since.
Huh.
Her family feels that he is guilty. But he went and took a polygraph and says he passed it.
Yeah.
So how is he involved?
Huh.
So we don't know if the baby is with mom or CPS half pint says. I heard CPS told her to leave also. Yeah, I heard that. I haven't been looking at that. Daniel's mother asked her to leave. And Daniel's mother kicked them off the property because they were accusing Daniel of being involved. But what would be the motive? What's the motive? Why he would want to get rid of her two other kids?
Jealousy, now that they have a child of their own.
And then I'm also hearing she was overwhelmed with taking care of 3 kids.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Being overwhelmed. But if you have a mother and a father who's not even working but 1 day a week, seems like you'd have a little bit of help there. And you've been doing it for 3 years already.
Maybe he wasn't helping. Maybe there's some postpartum depression.
Yeah, I was thinking the postpartum depression part.
But I mean, it's all total speculation.
Yeah.
Because
Everything's speculation at this point. But I thought postpartum depression, because my ex had that, and it's a real thing.
it is a real thing, but the baby's a year old. Postpartum depression.
No, 16 months old. 16, 17 months. We're talking a year and a half old.
Usually that postpartum depression comes immediately after birth.
Yeah, usually in 6 months.
It's been a year and a half. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I really shouldn't speak on it because I don't know, but from what I've sort of heard in the past is that postpartum depression is pretty soon after you give birth, not usually a year and a half later, but I guess everybody's different.
Yeah, why get rid of 2 and keep the baby? Daniel was the father of the baby, but not the other 2. It's puzzling to say the least.
Yeah.
I agree, Half Pint.
Yeah, and Donna says he probably wasn't helping. Probably not. Probably not.
The hell was he doing?
Right.
6 days a week. I don't get it. Can last a long time, right, Donna? All right, let's see what Dave has to say.
Now, Daniel made some statements that there were some rumors flying around social media that are really bad. I haven't seen them. And he wanted to call him right away. And that's why he told the RCMP, hey, put me on the polygraph. I got to say that criminals guilty of something, you usually never say that.
That's true. They don't go, give me a polygraph.
So I'm a little surprised, but I'd still put him on the poly. Never in the history of me researching missing children have I heard of a mother leave a home or search and rescue headquarters while the search was going on. Never heard of it.
I've heard of it twice now. And that's only the cases I know about.
Huge mistake. Huge mistake by RCMP. Right here in front of the house is a 2-lane highway. Sometime between 9 and 10 o'clock on May 2nd.
Oh yeah, I was going to say this. They should have, when they first heard about this case, they should have created a perimeter of all the roads and checked all the vehicles and questioned all the people traveling through there. And that's what he's about to say.
Those kids disappeared. RCMP should have put up roadblocks on that street between 8 and 11 a.m. and then again between 4 and 7 p.m. and stopped every car going up and down that road on day 4 or 5.
Yeah, because you don't know. Somebody saw something that they thought was normal that could have been relevant. And then they just don't follow the news and they have the information in their head. They saw it happen, but they just thought it was 2 kids getting picked up to go somewhere. And that person not been contacted, doesn't watch the news, haven't heard of the case, doesn't talk to his neighbors, sitting there with the information to solve the case, and nobody knows.
Why, Dave? Because there's no doubt that cars had traveled up and down that road during the time frame that the kids disappeared. if you didn't really know that there was a crime that was occurring, maybe what you saw didn't mean a lot to you at the time.
Right.
Were there kids standing next to a car on the roadway in front of that house? Did you see kids walking down the roadway from the house at that time? All those things, you briefly stop the people, say, hey, we're investigating the disappearance of 2 kids from this house. We want to know if you had driven by it during this time span on Friday. Quick, easy, and they're on their way. But if you never stop anyone, you will never find the answer there.
It's true. Can't say I don't disagree with that. So when I'm watching the video, I can't see the comments, so I'm switching back and forth. Typically lasts 6 to 8 weeks per Google, postpartum depression. 5 to 7 years. Damn.
Wow. Well, yeah, half pint, because you hear about mothers, murdering their whole family when, they've got 3 to 5 children that are,
Oh my God.
3 to 10 years old, and they just go on these killing sprees because they're postpartum psychosis. So there's plenty of those stories.
Her granddaughter had seizures and postpartum depression and recently told me, thank you for taking pictures because she doesn't remember her baby's first 2 years. That is amazing.
That's sad.
Well, you remember, what's her name, that had postpartum depression that killed all her kids and jumped out the window?
Right. I forget her name, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lindsay something.
Lindsay, Lindsay something. Driver.
I don't know the last name.
I was just watching the Taylor Shaw business video today. Oh my God, what a case that was. 9 years old now. Wow, Donna, that's terrible. At least she's got the pics to remember. Okay. Continue on.
Because you'll never find it. The people won't know. Stop everybody. It's not a big inconvenience when you're talking about 2 children. What response did the dog handlers have those first 2 or 3 days that they were on site looking for Lily and Jack? I'd want to know. And if I was a search organizer, I'd be calling them in and asking them, did the dog pick up a scent out there deep in the woods? Now, obviously in the yard, the kids live in the yard. The scent's all over the yard. So that's irrelevant. Going back into the woods, did they track a scent from the yard to deep into the woods, deep into 100 yards? If they didn't, it makes me question what we're doing there.
Or did they track a scent to the end of the driveway?
Right. Did we
Forgot-
even hear? Did we even hear from the dog handlers what the result of the dogs
I
were?
don't know that. If anybody in the chat knows, let us know.
What was the result in the finding with the footprint they found? And I want to see the picture.
Yeah.
All these questions, it's not to point fingers at what somebody's doing wrong. That's not what this is about. There's only one thing this is about, it's finding those kids. Period. If you're going to have a bruised ego, then you shouldn't be involved in this business. Sit around a conference table, 7 or 8 of the principals involved in this case. Major crimes investigator, search and rescue organizer, et cetera, dog handlers. And you go around and everybody answers this question. It's got to be done. Did the RCMP Major Crimes Unit interview the parents separately? I hope they did.
They did within 3 days.
Did when the officers responded to their house to take the original report, did they search the house? Because that's item number 1. Every time. Every time. Not even a question.
Right. They should have searched the whole house. They should have searched
The
all
whole
around
property, yeah.
before a million people came and trampled all over the place and mucked up the crime scene. Just like they mucked up the crime scene in Sebastian Ryder's case, just like they mucked up the crime scene in the Kohlberger case, where who knows how many people were running around in there. That case, man, we'll do something on that case coming up.
You'd be surprised how many times during that initial search you find kids sleeping under their bed or something really dumb. What was the point in bringing back searchers days after they said that the kids were probably deceased?
On the back,
Did they get new information?
I think it's after they found Daniel's or looked at Daniel's phone. I think that might be after they looked at his phone that there may have been on some information on there that led them down that road.
Were they just throwing bait out into the creek hoping something would bite? I don't understand.
They should have taken the phone right away. I mean, they should have taken all the electronics. I mean, after the first day, I'm taking electronics. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking the computer, I'm taking the iPad, I'm taking the phone, I'm taking the burner phone. I want the shit.
The family have a computer. If they did, I'd get a search warrant and I would seize the computer and have a forensic examiner go through it. I would see all the searches done on that thing in the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
And then I would go through every email sent from that computer in the last month. Therein lies a lot of good leads. I don't know if they have a computer. I'm just saying that standard protocol would have done that. Now, truthfully, every time I've ever been involved in something like this and those statements were made, the parents always would say, yeah, take it. Don't need a search warrant, take it, look for it. Clear me. I want you to focus on what's going on out there because it's not.
That's what they should have done. They should have just asked for the computers and the phones and said, we always collect the computers, phones, because there may be information you're not aware of on here that could lead to finding your kids or whatever. Just get them.
Me. Many times the police will say, hey, if you're selling a little weed, if you're doing something like that, we don't care. If we find out you're doing that, I don't care. We are interested in finding your children. Please understand that. You and me are on the same page. In one of the articles about this, that man, Glenn Brown, 26 years dog handler for the RCMP, said he can guarantee that every searcher going home is carrying Jack and Lilly on their back.
Amen.
I guarantee it's true. I guarantee it's true. The men and women that I've worked with on these things care more than you can ever imagine. It's something you just can't get out of your system. This is one of those cases that would keep me up nights. First of all, I don't believe the RCMP searched far enough from the house. You and I know how far kids can travel because I've exposed that. Even though the terrain may be filled with downfall and
They found kids in Dave's type of searches 5, 10, 20 miles away, alive, believe it or not.
things, somehow they're able to manage great distances at times. And if they don't go out and search there, they're never going to find the kids. And there were rumors that the RCMP had stated to Daniel that they didn't have a polygraph examiner in the area to do it. Those were some rumors I read somewhere. I don't know if it's true. Hey, RCMP, call the FBI in Seattle. They'll have an examiner, or
Boston.
correction, call the FBI in Boston. They're on the East Coast. They'll have an agent on a plane, and they'll be in Halifax within a couple hours. Do it. If you don't have one in your area, I know the FBI would help. Their polygraph examiners are the best in the world. Do it. Friends, send up a prayer for Jack and Lilly.
Lord find these 2 kids, what happened to them, and who done it. Amen.
One last comment. You know what name was never, ever brought up in this investigation?
Edo.
By
Mother.
parents? By anyone?
Edo.
It was the name of the 1-year-old that they had together.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Seriously, pray for the kids. Be kind. Polite us out.
It's good, huh?
Yeah.
Polite us out. 12-year-old boy lost on a mountain in Maine for 9 days based on his true story. It was a Hulu and pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I hope they find these kids. Have there been any recent stories on these guys? 8 hours ago, it's a story from, it's an article from 8 hours ago. Let's look at it.
All right, honey. I'm gonna
All right, we're about done. 5.5, da-da-dee-da-da-dee-da. I don't think there's any new information.
You're welcome,
All right,
Helena.
you guys. That's what we have for you today.
Thank you for coming and watching us. Sorry, I'm just all of a sudden I just got really tired. I've had a busy day, so.
Yeah, she was out getting water, getting food, doing all that stuff.
Chiropractor, post office, Target. I was all over the place today, and
I was supposed to go pour concrete today, and I was so sore from doing the work to get ready to pour concrete yesterday that I was like cramping up. My legs are cramping up. My hands are cramping up. It was nasty.
yeah.
Good, Jennifer B. Good to see you. Thank you, Donna. Take care, and we will see you all the next time. So peace out
All right.
from the Mabs.
Peace out, you guys.
See you
Thank you for
soon.
coming. It was really nice to see all of you and,
Yes.
and have a nice little chat.
Yeah. Cool, half pint. Real good to see you. All right, next time. We'll see you next time.